Okay, I'm standing in here. This is my training room where I start all the dogs at. Comes here for training. This is Josie. She's going home tomorrow. She came here for training, basic obedience, pet type obedience. Owner isn't planning on doing any competing with her. She was killing chickens, killed a cat. He wanted her to learn to ride in the back of the truck. We've had her in the back of the truck quite a few times. She wants to jump up in the back of a truck now, but my truck just sits too high for her to get up in. It's got a 8-inch lift kit under it. We've had her around chickens, corrections with the chickens. She absolutely does not like chickens now. She would rather avoid them than get around them. We've exposed her to tame rabbits, our cows, horses. We've had her out walking state parks, different things. Got her around people, different areas, strange dogs. She had quite a bit of dog aggression. She was 6 months old. She's 7 months old now. We worked a lot on her dog aggression. We've taught her on her basic obedience, mostly working down and stay. She had a sit, but she's got to the point that we work down so much, she goes into a down rather than her sit, and we have to coax her back up into a sit, which that will balance out later between the two when she starts to understand I'm only needed to sit and not go all the way down into a down. We've started working on a heel, more of a competition style heel with the food in hand. She heels really well on leash. She's walking really well on leash. Just wanted to get a quick video of her doing some obedience. We'll get her to down, see if we can get her to stay for a minute or two. More than anything, just to show she is doing this. A lot of times when the owners show up to pick up their dogs, the first thing that they do is they see the dog and they start loving on the dog, or the dog gets all excited to see him and completely loses its mind, and just after that will not listen. It's just so happy to see its owners and ready to go back home at that point. I've done next to no corrections on her. We tried to put a little bit of correction on her with the down, and she just didn't understand it, so I just backed off of that. I don't want to ruin the dog's temperament in any way. I want to see them happy when they're doing what they're told to do. Let's see if we can get her to do a little bit of obedience today. I just got her out and brought her in here, so here we go. Here. I am using the clicker with her, and for very good reason. I'll do another video later on explaining the clicker a little bit, but okay, I got a phone call there, so I quit talking for a minute. I'm sure you'll hear it on the video. Maybe you will, maybe you won't, but let's see what she's going to do. You can see her, she's hitting her position on her own without being told. Because we've worked this so much, she wants the food in my hand. So she's going into position on her own, which of course it's good. Okay, somebody called back there again. I don't edit these videos. They are what they are, so when there's mistakes or a phone call comes in or whatever, a lot of people will edit their video, take out any mistakes the dog's making or whatever. Every dog makes mistakes. I don't have time for it myself. Down. Here. Here. The whole reason for rewarding her more when she's in this position, of course I got her in the proper position there before I started rewarding, is she's in position. I don't need to tell her over and over again to get into the position. If she's already in the position, she should be getting rewarded for it. We'll see if we can do some downs now and get her to stay for a minute. She heard the words, she did it on her own, even though I'm just talking to this camera. Down. 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 And again, like I said, she's making mistakes. I'm not going to edit these mistakes out. It is what it is. Down. Down. Stay. It just took her a minute to settle down a little bit is what it took. And she's in a down stay right now. I don't expect them to hold this forever, especially at this age. The only way you can get a perfect down stay on a dog, on a young dog, and really fast is lots of corrections, which of course will run the temperament of the dog. I don't like putting that many corrections on them in the beginning. Here. Down. I also don't like having the word "you" stay. When I put a dog into a down, it should stay in a down until I say otherwise. If I put them into a sit, they should sit until I say otherwise. She heard the command, so she comes to me to sit. So we're not going to reward her for that. I probably should, because she heard the command, stay. She heard the command, she came to do it and wanted to reward. That's kind of a judgment call. The dogs need to really kind of learn to stay in the position even during a conversation. If you're standing there with your buddy and it's a pet dog and you put them down and stay, and you want to carry on the conversation with whoever's standing there, then they really should stay where you put them into a down. If they hear another word, they just you want the dog down and stay instead of coming up. Yeah, I get a little tongue-tied at times, especially talking on these things. But we've got it down and stay. We've got a heel here. We've got it here. Sit. She's already in the sit when I said sit, but a lot of times she'll drop when I say sit because she thinks she should be doing something else at the time. See, the dog's really focused, that tail's wagging, she's still happy. She's a good dog. She is a show line dog rather than a working line dog. She does have a lot of American in her pedigree. In the back of her pedigree, there were 2 import show line dogs and 1 dog that was out of 2 import show lines. Other than that, looking at the pedigree, it's 100% American bred. Looking at pedigrees, a lot of times you would look at something like that and people just wouldn't even want to work with it. I've learned over the years that instead of looking at the pedigree, look at the dog in front of you. She's a really good dog, really smart dog. As far as that pedigree goes, you wouldn't expect a dog with a pedigree like that to really work and train and understand things this well. But there's also many times that we see dogs with really great import pedigrees and trying to train the dogs. Maybe it was a couple of dogs that just shouldn't be bred, even though they had that really great pedigree. Maybe they just weren't the best quality, or maybe there was something that the owner or the breeder did to the dog that run temperament or run drive or just whatever. There's so many times we've seen dogs that were really great puppies and they go to people, great pedigrees, great parents, go to people, and one instance there was an officer that come out here for training after he bought his dog, and the dog, when he brought it back at 4 months old, was just scared to come out from behind his legs, scared to step away from him, and it was never like that as an 8-week-old puppy when it left. If it wasn't like that as an 8-week-old puppy, there's no reason for it to be like that as an older dog or an adult, unless something's happened to it to cause it to be like that. So I worked really hard with that particular pup and that officer and kept telling him, you need to quit putting corrections on this pup. You're running its temperament. If you're wanting it to do narcotics work eventually or protection work, you're making a scared dog out of it by what you're doing, which of course, yeah, she accidentally got rewarded for something she shouldn't have right there. But what you're doing with your pup is you're running it. And of course he denied quite a bit of what I was telling him, and I told him, I don't really need you to tell me what you're doing. Down. 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 Now she's focused on the reward. Like I said, I'm not going to edit these mistakes out, but I'll give her a second to rethink. Down. 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 Ah. Down. 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 She just kind of got used to me sitting there talking, so now she's going to stay down. Anyhow, I told the guy, I don't really need you to tell me what's been going on, because the puppy is telling me what's been going on. I've been doing this for a lot of years. I can read the dog, I can read the reactions. It was one of my pups that I had raised up to 8 weeks and sold. And so the puppy was telling me what was going on, and his reply back was, well, I can't have the dog thinking it's okay to eat the kids or chewing on the kids. And puppies are puppies. They chew. High drive working line puppies will chew and bite pants legs more than any other breed or any other German Shepherd. It's just what they do. So anyhow, I really worked with the puppy to bring it out of its shell. I did a lot of work with it that day to bring it out of its shell and get it stepping back out like it should. And went over things to do, things not to do with this pup while he was here. And of course the next week when he was scheduled to come back, he didn't show. 2 weeks later, he finally shows back up, and the puppy was even worse than it was the first time. He just, he corrected on the thing too much, obviously screamed at it, yelled at it. Spray bottle in the face was what his mother that he was living with was doing to it. Just all sorts of things, and I'm going to do another video on that eventually. Things to do, things not to do with your puppy, how you'll run the temperament and so forth. But in the end, he obviously wasn't listening to what I had to say, so rather than keep the guy coming back and taking his money, I've got better things to do. I'm not rich, but I didn't need the money and I don't need the headaches. I told him to enjoy his pet because that's all he was making out of it was a pet. If the dog ever does any type of protection after what it went through, I mean, even as an adult, I would be really amazed. There's just so many things that you can do to run temperament and so forth. And the reason I got off on that subject was Josie here was raised right. She's not scared, she's not fearful. You can tell she hasn't been corrected. And of course you can see her hitting her position to get this dog food. Everybody dog food is directly from my hand when they're here for training. They don't eat anything out of a bowl or in a kennel or off of the ground unless we accidentally drop something and she picks it up. You can see she wants that dog food, and we're not going to give her the dog food just for coming up and basically saying, give me the dog food. We're going to give it to her when she's doing her down. And no, I'm not giving her commands here, but we've been doing these downs enough that she's doing them on her own. She's doing what's expected. Yeah, it's better if it's a command, and that's why we do give the commands. Heel. Bring her into a heel here, and she's still in a heel even though she's in a down position. But we're working on heel, so we're going to bring her back up into the heel. Heel. I'm using English commands rather than German because she's a pet. Normally I'll use German commands if the dog is going to law enforcement or competition, or if the owner requests German commands. I don't do it very often with a pet, and it's really hard for me to switch over to English commands when I'm so used to using German commands on the dogs. It's just really hard for it to roll off my tongue. There's been a lot of times I've went to tell her down and said plots instead, and she heard the command, so of course she went back to her down, and have to correct myself and say down instead of plots. Next dog I get out, I'll have to switch back to the German commands, and it might be a little rough switching back to the German commands after working with her for a while. But as you can see, she's very focused. She's working for it really well. Nice temperament, great dog. Again, pedigrees are nice to look at, but don't put everything in a pedigree on a dog. Look at the dog in front of you, not the paper. There's been so many dogs imported over here into the States that there should be a lot of really great dogs here in the States, and I believe that there is. I believe the reason that you don't see these dogs going to world championships that's bred here in the States has nothing to do with the fact that they're bred in the States, because they're usually out of 2 direct imports and usually out of some real top working lines. The reason these dogs don't go to a world championship is the really good trainers, the ones that really know how to train and that would put the time into a dog to take it that far, won't even give the dog a chance. They won't even give it the time of day if they don't see that set of pink papers that it came from overseas out of a certain dog. There's a lot of bad dogs bred here in the States as well. There's a lot of bad dogs bred overseas, and by bad dogs I mean weak nerve, poor temperament, just low drive. Low drive, of course, would still be great for a pet, but not if you're looking for a top competition working dog or a dog to go hunt narcotics or explosives all day long. You want a really high drive dog with good nose, good strong nerves, and so forth to do something like that with. I believe there's a lot of them here in the States. I don't believe myself that I'm going to be looking overseas for any more dogs in the future, although I might. I've got a friend down in North Carolina that's got a really nice female that he bred himself out of a male that he imported. I don't know what the female is. But he's got a female that he really likes that I've been wanting to go down and see it in action. And if I decide in the next few years that I want another dog to carry my bloodlines on, there's a good chance that I'm going to go pay him a visit and look at one of those puppies. No need to go overseas. It's here in the States. I can look at the parents. I can look at the pups. I don't have to deal with customs or a broker. Yeah, pink papers are really nice, but for the longest time I was bringing in 10, 12, sometimes 14 puppies in a year. And even though they were direct import, pink papered, out of what was supposed to be good dogs overseas, they didn't make it into the breeding program. Maybe 1 or 2 here and there made it into my breeding program. It took a little bit more than that, and when it comes to the titles, sport titles, I really don't care about the sport titles. I want to see the dog that's right in front of me. Titles have more to say about the trainer's ability than it does about the dog. Guys like Martin Pezia, he trained a goat to do IPO if the goat had drive. So any dog you put in front of certain people is they're going to be able to put a title on it. So that title really don't mean a whole lot. Title does say, okay, the dog's capable. Good trainer, good breeder should know how to properly evaluate and know if that dog is trainable, workable. If they can't properly evaluate a pup, there's a good chance that they probably shouldn't even be trainers here. Yep. Okay, I hit the clicker there and she got a bite anyhow. Now, if this was a competition dog, she should have never got that reward. She was sitting sideways. I know that there's going to be some people that shares this around on Facebook and just really has a lot of bad stuff to say about it, and I really don't care. To those people, I just simply say, hey, get your dog out, get your camera out, make your video and post it. Most of those people are buying dogs that are already trained, already titled, not working with a dog and training it from scratch themselves. Again, she was sideways, she was crooked there. That's fine. She's coming in the heel, she's wrapping around to stay focused on me. The dog wants to see me. This is a pet, it's not a competition dog. Down. See, there she down quite a bit easier than she did earlier because she's kind of settled down now. She heard me say it just a second ago, so she did it on her own, and she started to get back up to get the reward, but she caught herself. You got to reward a dog that's trying like that. Stay. Again, like I said, putting a stay on the dog, I really don't like to use the word stay. Being a pet dog, that is what it is. They wanted a stay put on her. We've got to stay. I don't expect her to stay there for no half an hour or hour. This is something that's going to develop over time. The longer they give the dog commands, down. The more she's going to pick up what is expected of her by them. That's a big thing with the dog, is understanding what's expected of it by the family, by the owner, by the trainer, and so forth. I think I got off subject again. We're about out of food here, and this is a basic training session other than me talking on this video. Which gave her a good distraction, because instead of just getting the commands, she's hearing me say a lot of other stuff. So it's kind of good for her, but when the bag's empty, that's usually it for the training session. Aside from this, a dog that would be here, if it's here for protection, it might be out doing protection work in the front yard. It might be taking trips with me to other trainers, friends' houses to do protection work at their house, off of the property. I like to work them off of the property, different places and things as well. So instead of just doing what they're told to do in this one spot, they're not, she got me sidetracked there. She's not supposed to be jumping, but she's jumping because she's getting the food. And it's something that if the dog was just jumping up to really be jumping and didn't understand to stay down like she is, I would think really needs a correction. But what she's doing, there's a reason why she's doing it. But anyhow, if the dog's here for protection training, it's going to be going different places. Other than this obedience training, She's been riding in the back of the truck, going to parks. Had her out walking in town once. Some of the dogs, just depending on what the dog needs, would be going out different places, being exposed to different things. Some of the dogs would go from a food reward to a ball reward or a tug reward. They wanted her to stop chewing on things, so I really don't want to encourage chewing with giving her a ball reward or a tug reward. Something I would do to discourage that chewing is I would give her a good big Kong ball that she couldn't destroy, something that she could chew on, that she's allowed to chew on. I would take things away that she's not allowed to chew on. Maybe eventually some corrections. I just don't like to correct them before they're a year old because there's just too much you can do, run the temperament. Leaving toys with them all the time, having them in the house as a pet, takes the drive out of it. It takes the drive out of it. When you're wanting to put the drive in the dog, keep the drive in the dog, because it comes out for training and goes back up. It doesn't have toys with it. It's kind of like the little kid that you take that video game away from them, and they've got to do something to get that video game back. They'll do anything to get that video game. But if they've got that video game all the time, 24/7, after a while they get bored with that game and they want a new game. Down. Anyhow, I think I'm going to cut this video off now. I've just been rambling on it. You can see she's downing, she's staying really focused. She's got her here, I use here, she heard the word so she came, rather than come. That one there is just hard to go to a come or come here. Heel. Rather than the German, and I'll save those last couple of pieces to put in her kennel that we're keeping her in out here. It helps to get the dog to teach it to go into the kennel a little bit better. Anyhow, anybody else watching this video, if you want to see more, and eventually I'm going to be making some videos, starting from scratch, going through different things, teaching the blinds, running the blinds, retrieves and so forth. If you want to see more, or if you like this video, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell next to it to get notifications. The more people I get subscribing, the more it will encourage me to make more videos. I'm not sure how much free information that I want to put out there, because the more free information I put out, the less reason you have to come and have me do it for you. But there are a lot of people that just don't have the time or patience to do it, so I will be putting out more videos. Again, hit that subscribe, hit that notifications button, and I hope you enjoyed it.